All right, here's the thing. Simply put, all right, we're going to talk about a perk that absolutely needs literally something to help and bring it up into perspective. All right, short and sweet and to the point. Up the ante. This perk is absolutely terrible. All right, all that it does for every here's the thing, it's for everyone who's alive. You get 3% for everyone else. That's like 9% at the most. That's wild. Okay, now here's the thing, this perk, honestly, they can do so much with this perk just to make it a better version of itself, and the luck thing is kind of whatever. Simply put, I think the fact that it can affect everybody is actually like a pretty big W. And but like the bonus of it's not like worthy. Like you only use it to get off a hook and like potentially Kobe better, and it's useless for that. Any stacks, the thing is that even if up the any stacks, it still is useless. That's the biggest problem. Like nobody uses this perk despite the fact that if it's stackable or not, it's just, it doesn't do anything because the luck factor in this game is kind of inexistent. So like when it comes to the hook, it's a 4% chance, and it goes up from 4 to like 13. And then when you start combining it with like all of the other luck stuff, you don't even get like a near guarantee. You still get like a potential like maybe. And even then, knowing how the game works, it's not going to be on your side. Like you're not going to ever actually be able to use up the ante, bring an offering to increase luck, and stack all those luck stuff up. Like it's not really worth it for just to be able to like potentially get off the hook, because like I feel like people would combine up the ante with like slippery meat and like see if they can get the hook more frequently, whatever, but like by that time it just doesn't do anything for you. So here's what I think though, if I had the simple request of buffing this perk in any way, shape, and form, all they got to do is whenever you do a skill check, it just increases the progression of it by 1 to 3 or something percentage. So for example, like if you do a good skill check, if it goes up 1%, it just goes up 2% instead, period. You know what I mean? If you get a great check, if it does it 5%, it goes up to 6, something small. You know what I mean? Even for like the level 1 version, that's fine. But level 3 version, if it did 3% of whatever the skill check was for, that way you can just progressively do stuff faster. I feel like that would be like, that'd be okay. Whenever it's like a skill check thing, it just increases the chances of a skill check thing across the board. That's it. For everything that you can do action wise that involves a skill check, that perk makes it more likely to be case. Now I feel like though, if everyone was bringing it and it was stackable, it'd be kind of cracked. So just to kind of like single it out in a way, if it got a rework, right, where if any skill check you did just like consecutively worked for everyone but only one person needed to bring it, I think that'd be a W. It doesn't even need to be different for the person who has the perk. It can just be universally, like, you know how like open-handed is, everyone just gets a benefit from it, like one-time use kind of vibe. This perk should fall in the same boat, and especially because the perks are being used by the same person. So I feel like that just makes the most sense. It would make sense to them just to have any skill check, so repair, healing, killer movement stuff. Like for the doctor, imagine using this perk against a doctor, and then you can do a skill check and it boosts you out of the crazy mode faster. You know what I mean? Even for like doing like a glyph. Or, well, I was gonna try and say like, oh, maybe it'll slow down the speed of the marker on the skill check, but I feel like that would be kind of nuts actually. I think that, I mean, I'm honestly surprised that that doesn't exist as a perk where like it slows down the wheel of the skill check. It only makes the checks larger to be clickable, like with like this not happening and whatever. Hyper focus makes it go up, makes it move faster, but you know, at the risk of being able to like catch it, right? So I mean, but up the ante, like the lore concept behind the perk doesn't really like, you know, work if it slows things down, because you gotta up the ante, right? So you gotta go bigger or go home. Like that's how it works. So I feel like as a result, just being able to like get a bigger bonus out of doing like the check kind of thing, it'd be kind of sick actually. Because it just rolls on luck. Whatever let this perk function luck wise base, it should just do that. And I think that like this perk should even apply to like wiggling, because now the only perk that really lets you do wiggling better is breakout and boil over, as far as I'm aware. This perk should also allocate to that in some way, shape, and form, especially because they took out the way that the wiggling works when you get the great check. Now the great check doesn't increase it faster, it just makes there be more resistance for the killer's movement, so it kind of like confuses them in terms of their walking speed. But this perk now should just let you do just that, so that way like if you get a skill check on a wiggle, you can just get off the killer's shoulder a little bit faster than if you just hit like a single check, or not at all, right? Because like you don't get any progress if you don't hit the check. You get just movement a little bit if you get a good, but if you get a great, it kind of like put it in there like a strong movement kind of vibe. So I feel like it would work. 5% chance that if you get a great skill check, you get 2 times the progressive said skill check. I think that'd be sick. Even if you double, like, because it's kind of like how hyper focus would work, but instead of it just stacking per check, it does a base version of a check if it like works. It just increases like that's what it should be. It just increases the multiplier of whatever the check would be if you didn't have the perk on, and the multiplier of the check would just be applied in that way. I feel like that would just be perfect for what it should be doing, because like I said, the perk is terrible, and it doesn't need to be stacked up or anything. It should just be like if you use it kind of thing, then you get to benefit from it. And I feel like if anybody else, I think that the debate is though, like if it was shared across the whole team, if one person had it, if that'd be worth it, or if you rework it so it's a you perk, like you only benefit from it kind of vibe, then all those skill check ideas should come fully into play. Because that's a problem that like the game runs into, is that there's a lot of perks that people get to just share with one usage of it, but this perk kind of falls into play where like it doesn't really do much for you, so it doesn't do much for anybody else. So. And I feel like also if you that's actually a great idea too. Like if you use it on Overcharge or Merciless Storm and you fail to check, then it doesn't progress it as much. I feel like that would also be, I think low key it should actually be bad if you do mess it up. So that way the perk is not just running around with it being like a benefit all the way through. There should be like a bad check to it, but you also got to take yourself up the step further. So like if you theoretically run a kit like Up the Ante, Hyper Focus, Stakeout, right, and you get all your great checks in a row, and then you're like 3 stacks in, if you mess up the check, the progression that you get for missing the check with this perk should be hard hitting because you messed up the check, but that's the reward and the risk that you get for bringing this perk in the first place. So it just makes sense that you like let the skill checks be the factor, because if you wanted to opt out of the factor for it, then like you just gotta undo the generator and you gotta go back into it, because you can kind of like tap and untap the gen kind of vibe. I thought it'd be kind of cool. So because like with hyper focus you can do that. Like if you keep on trying to opt in for it, and if you feel like it's just too risky, then you can undo or unrepair the gen, and then you can just restart, and people actually like do that as a way to like not break the gen. This perk should fall in same line with that in some way, shape, and form. Or at least like if like you can if people start dying slowly and surely, then it gets worse. I feel like that'd be more fair, because that way it doesn't just have like a high risk high reward at the start. It starts off high reward, but the worse that the team starts doing, the more high risk it becomes. That also would be a great way to balance it out as the game progresses through, because there's no way that you'll really go through a game where like people aren't getting hooked or downed or whatever that it boils down to. So I feel like that'd be really sick actually. Anyways, those are some ideas for Up the Ante. Like I said, this perk sucks, and they need to figure it out, how to make it better. Letting it do skill check stuff would be, I think, the number one thing that would let this perk thrive a little bit better. I mean, they can keep the 3% bonus for the unhook thing, but they definitely got to take out the idea that it's just that. It needs to do a heck of a lot more than just doing a 3% bonus to luck for just getting off the hook, because that's the only thing that it's used for. So there is Up the Ante.